Morning, children. Let's read and understand the remaining part of the chapter Nelson Mandela, A Long Walk to Freedom. I'm beginning with page 22 with the second paragraph. I was not born. Till before this, we have understood that he has asked us to understand what courage is, then what are the twin obligations every man has, and can you fulfill both? A man of his color in that society, whether he was able to fulfill both, one or not even one. Let's see whether he wanted to fulfill his obligations towards his society's community, then was he able to fulfill his obligations towards his family or not. Now he says the meaning of freedom for him as Nelson Mandela, as a boy, as a young man. I was not born with a hunger to be free. I was born free, free in every way that I could know, free to swim in the clear stream that ran through my village, free to roast millies under the stars and ride the broad backs of slow-moving bulls. He says, I was not born with a hunger, with the desire to be free or to work for the freedom of my community. I didn't even understand. When I was born, I thought I was free. Yes, I was born free. Free in every way. How much I understood freedom is. Freedom is, I was free to run in the fields near my mother's hut. I was free. Nobody restricted me from swimming in the clear stream of water that ran through my village. The river that passed through my village. I was free to roast millies. Here, millies means to bake maize corns. But the symbolic meaning here is to imagine, to have my own life of dreams. Like a child has, he thinks, imagines in his own way. Nobody stops him. So I was free to roast millies under the stars. Imagine anything. This would be this would be that. Children have their own childish fancies. So I was free to roast millies under the stars and ride on the broad backs, to ride on the back of bulls, to ride on the bulls, slow moving bulls. As long as I obeyed my father, I had to just obey what my father said. Don't do it this way or do it that way, not at this time, only at that particular time. So as long as I obeyed my father and abided by the customs of my tribe, and that means my community, that means people belonging to the same color. As long as I obeyed my father and followed what the customs of my tribe, I was not troubled by the laws of man or the laws of God. I was not troubled by anyone. The laws of whites, laws of man, laws of God. I obeyed my father. I abided by the custom of my society. It was only when I began to learn that my boyhood freedom was an illusion. That means when I grew up, I understood this was not real freedom. Any boy, any child, any baby, any kid is allowed to do all this. So it was only when I began to learn that my boyhood freedom was an illusion. It was something that appears to be real but not real. It was just an illusion for me. When I discovered as a young man, now I was a young man, that my freedom had already been taken from me, that I began to hunger for it. When as a young man I understood the real meaning of freedom, that real freedom was already taken away from me before my birth because I was of black color. That time I realized that I began to hunger for it. I thought to gain. I began to desire, wish for that freedom when I understood what actual freedom is. At first, as a student, I wanted freedom only for myself. As a student, I wanted myself to be free. How? The transitory freedom. Transitory means that keeps changing. As a student, you want whenever you wish you should be allowed to study. Nobody should force you what to study, when to study, how to study, what to eat, what not to eat. This is selfish freedom, transitory freedom that keeps changing with time. So I wanted freedom only for myself, the transitory freedoms of being able to stay out at night, You all want as kids, read what I pleased. Don't force me that I should read only codes books. I also want something else. Watch whatever I please and go wherever I choose. This is my personal freedom, which keeps changing with time. Later, as a young man, when I was a student, this was what I learnt as freedom, and I wanted it only for myself, not the people of my community. Later, as a young man in Johannesburg, I yearned. Yes, I wanted. I desired for the basic and honorable freedom of achieving my potential, of earning my keep, marrying and having a family. So, I desired for the basic and honorable freedom. If I'm an honorable man, I will not take money from my father. I will achieve my own potential, how much I can work, and earning my keep means working and earning according to what I'm able to, according to my potential, my capability. What I am able to do, I'll do that work and earn myself. Will not be dependent on anybody. And then freedom of marrying, freedom of having a family. The freedom not to be obstructed in a lawful life. If you are living in a society that abides by the laws, these freedoms, the freedoms that keep changing according to age, okay, these were not obstructed in a lawful life. But then I slowly saw that not only was I not free, I understood not only I was not free, my brothers and sisters were not free. My brothers and sisters, the people of my community. I saw that it was not just my freedom that was curtailed. It was not, I was not the only one whose freedom was reduced, that you have only this much freedom. You can only work as a servant, not as a leader. You can never be a leader. You cannot elect the government, neither can you be the government. So, something that stuck me. I slowly realized that not only was I not free, everybody around me who were of the same color were not free. I saw that it was not just my freedom that was curtailed, but freedom of everyone who looked like I did. Freedom of every person who was of the same color I was. And that is when I understood this thing and meaning of true freedom. Equality to do everything that every person in your society can, which the blacks were not allowed. So, but the freedom of everyone. So that is when I joined the African National Congress. This party worked for the freedom of blacks, for the upliftment of the blacks. So that is when I joined the African National Congress, and that is when the hunger for my own freedom became the greater hunger for the freedom of my people. That freedom for the people of my people. It was this desire for the freedom of my people to live their lives with dignity and self-respect that animated my life. So I understood that it was not only my freedom, I wanted freedom for all my people, for all my community, to be able to stand on equal grounds with every other person of my country. Why is everyone of my color not allowed to do certain things? Why is their freedom reduced, curtailed? So it was this desire for the freedom of my people to live their lives with dignity, respect, self-respect, that animated my life, that gave me a boost, that gave me that energy to do something for my people, animated my life, gave me the energy and enthusiasm to do something for my people, that transformed a frightened young man into a bold one. I was a frightened young man. Every black was a frightened individual. And this hunger for true freedom of my people gave me the energy and transformed this frightened young man to a bold and courageous Nelson Mandela, that drove a law-abiding attorney to become a criminal. So attorney means lawyer. So he was that. that drove a law abiding. Abiding means to follow. So I followed the law. I was a lawyer. So law abiding person to become a criminal. Because that is what we were considered. Because we were working for the upliftment of the blacks. We were not following the laws because we wanted to change those laws. So this made a law abiding attorney to become a criminal. That turned a family loving husband into a man without a home. A family loving husband. I love my wife, my children. I became a man without a home. I cannot live with my family anymore. That forced a life loving man to live life like a monk. So I loved life. I love to live life, to enjoy life. But I, life loving man, the one who wants to live every moment of life with joy, to a man who could not enjoy the pleasures of a father, a brother, live with family, enjoy with family, but to live life like a saint. I am no more virtuous or self-sacrificing than the next man. But I found that I could not even enjoy the poor and limited freedoms I was allowed when I knew my people were not free. So when I became, what you say, a person who was into the struggle for the freedom of the blacks, for the upliftment of the blacks, I understood I was no more virtuous. I did not follow any virtues, any values. So I did not follow, I was no more virtuous. I was no more a self-sacrificing than the next man. Says, I am no more virtuous. I am no more self-sacrificing than the next man. I am like every other person. Don't consider me a saint. I am only virtuous, only a man of character as any other person is. Only that much sacrificing that the next person to me is. But when I joined the freedom struggle, I found that I could not even enjoy the poor and limited freedom as a black I was getting. As a black, I was allowed when I knew my people were not free. So whatever limited freedom the blacks enjoyed, when I became the person who struggled for the freedom of my people, I could not even enjoy that. I could not be with my people. I was imprisoned. I was isolated. So I could not enjoy the love of my family, could not be with the family, lived life like a criminal, a monk. Freedom is indivisible. You cannot divide it. That this group of people, freedom means something to them and something to them. For all the humanity, freedom is one. It should be equal. So freedom is indivisible. Indivisible cannot be divided. The chains on any one of my people were the chains on all of them. The chains, restriction to any one person, one black, was the chain on everyone, was the restriction upon everyone. The chains on all of my people were the chains on me. So similarly, if I am not allowed to do something, the whole of my community is not. So understand it this way, if whole of my community is restricted to do something, has been restricted to do something, I am one of them. I am one of them. I knew. So what is to be done to bring about the freedom for my community, for the people of my color? I knew that the oppressor, who is the oppressor here? The whites, who are oppressing others. Okay, must be liberated just as surely as the oppressed. So an important line, please underline. I am explaining this line particularly. He says, the oppressor must be liberated just as surely as the oppressed. Why? The explanation is here in the next lines. A man who takes away another man's freedom is a prisoner of hatred. Is a prisoner of hatred. He is locked behind the bars of prejudice and narrow-mindedness. Prejudice, already thinking, preconceived notion about someone. Prejudice, this lady looks to be of a rich family. Rich family ladies are always arrogant. Always arrogant is a prejudiced statement. Why prejudice statement? You never know. This can be a simple loving lady who may be working for the orphanages, orphan children, or maybe donating amount to the old age homes. So this is your prejudice against that person. He says oppressor must be liberated. He has to be free of the mentality that I am best, other is not. I have to hate the other person. He is not lovable. He is not equal to me. So from that mentality, the oppressor has to be first free, liberated, just as surely as the oppressed. A man, here is White, who takes away another man's freedom is a prisoner of hatred. If a lady doesn't want another lady to enjoy the freedom given to women, that means that lady is a prisoner of hatred. She hates everyone. That's why she's not allowing anybody under her to enjoy the freedom given to everyone. So again I repeat, a man who takes away another man's freedom is a prisoner of hatred. Is a prisoner of hatred. He has prejudice in his mind. He is controlled by the emotion of hatred. When you hate others, only then you don't allow others to enjoy their life. You keep obstructing them in the way of their enjoyment, happiness. He, oppressor, is locked behind the bars of prejudice. Whites are locked behind the bars of prejudice. They think they are best, others are not. Somebody should ask them why. Why? So they are locked behind the bars of prejudice and narrow-mindedness. Today, if we think blacks are not equal to the whites, then definitely who has created this? You are narrow-minded. God never made this rule. You made it by yourself. That means you hate others. You never want them to progress. You never want them to get freedom to have equal rights with you. You are a prisoner of hatred. Your mentality is to hate others, not to love others. So you have to free that person, oppressor, from this chains of hatred first. Let him, teach him to love. Teach him that there is nothing like black or white. We are all people of God, children of God. What is there? Somebody is best, somebody is not. No, we all are equal. So he has to be free from the bars, from the prison of narrow-mindedness and prejudice. I am not truly free if I am taking away someone else's freedom. You yourself will never be at peace. You will never be relaxed if you are taking away somebody else's freedom. If you are actually doing something wrong to others, you as a person, one will never be happy if one is taking somebody else's happiness. Right? If you are not allowing somebody to be happy, you yourself will never be happy. Take it, understand it this way. So I am not truly free if I am taking away someone else's freedom, just as surely as I am not free when my freedom is taken from me. Right? Prisoner of hatred. You hate others if you are not allowing others to live their life the way they want. Right? So the oppressed and the oppressor alike means in the same way, are robbed of their humanity. What is humanity? Humane and inhumane. Both are not humanity. A human being is live and let live. You also live and let others live. It is not that you are living and not allowing others to live. You are truly a human. So he says the oppressor is living but not allowing others to live, and the oppressed is not even allowed to live. So both are robbed of. Both their humanity has been taken away. Like blacks were not allowed to live like a normal human being, right? And the whites were not were not living a proper life as a human being, because a human being truly is human when he has humanity, when he loves and respects the freedom and happiness of other human beings. So both are not getting human treatment. You are becoming a devil and you are becoming a worse than a criminal, worse than a animal. So the oppressor and the oppressed, today also it is said, no, we human beings are controlling the animals and the flora and fauna around us. So we are also not living a proper life. life to the animals and birds have been given by God. We have no right to capture them in cages, right? So we are oppressors in that case, and the animals are being oppressed. So the oppressed and the oppressor, in the same way, alike, are robbed of their humanity. Neither of them, the whites cannot be considered as true human beings, and the blacks are not even allowed to live as truly as human beings. They are made to live as animals, even worse than that. Understood? So this was the end of this chapter, end of the text. This oral or comprehension check, the twin obligations, transitory freedoms, and thinking about the text, we'll discuss in the next video. Keep doing what has been discussed already in the videos. Keep doing that in the notebook, because after that it will be a burden upon you to complete all the questions, oral comprehension, thinking about, and extra questions. I'll be giving extra questions, long answer type, short answer type, both from this, as well as reference to context also. So keep doing along with the videos. Thank you, children. Have a good day.